Hello everyone. In the previous video looking at my Irish FAL recreation using a VFC airsoft gun, I mentioned that I would probably make a follow-up video, or the next video would cover a recreation of some Irish kit from the later 1980s, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. This is a kit recreated to represent an Irish soldier, 3-star private, which is effectively private first class, in the regular forces, supporting the providing support to the civil power, basically, on internal security duties on the southern side of the border, of course, either in support of the Garda or on independent patrol. Both are possible, and the kit we're looking at here is fairly typical of the time period, based on photographs and footage in the RTE archives from around the 1987 period, somewhere around there. So that gives a sort of date for what we're looking at here in terms of the kit being recreated, just before the Éire AUG appears on the scene and starts to replace the FAL with the regular forces. So that's what we're going to have a look at now, is a recreation of this kit for those specific duties from that particular time period. So we'll first of all have a look at an overview of the recreation here, with obviously the front, back and sides of the uniform and equipment shown. As you can probably tell, there's a mix of origins for the kit we're going to look at here. For example, the helmet is Israeli, the web equipment is British. We'll talk through all of that in the course of the video. As I say, this is set up to represent kit fairly typical for a soldier serving on border security duties, be it in support of the Garda on a checkpoint, for example, or on a patrol. And the kit basically is suitable for that sort of duty in terms of the kit that's been carried, the amount of web equipment that's been carried and so forth. And we'll talk more about that as well as the video progresses. Looking at the uniform and equipment in a bit more detail, we'll first of all talk about the helmet, of course, starting at the top. And as already mentioned, this is an Israeli Oralite helmet, referred to as the Infantry Helmet 85 in Irish service, and it was introduced in 1985. So it's a good example of the new kit which was being introduced in the 1980s. As you can see, the helmet has a net attached. At the time, these were attached in various different ways, in this case using black electrical tape. We can't really look at the jacket of the combat uniform in any great detail here. You can see the sleeves, of course, poking out from underneath the body armour which is worn, and we will have a look at the rank insignia on the arm in detail in just a moment. To talk briefly about the jacket, it's basically a development of the British 1960 pattern, which had effectively been the standard Irish combat uniform prior to the mid-1980s, when it began to be replaced with this modified version. And the jacket is modified only really in having vertical zipped pockets on the chest rather than the patch pockets with flaps, per the British 1960 pattern. So it was slightly modified and modernised in that regard, but is otherwise still made of the same heavyweight green cotton, and various other details remained the same. You can see the body armour worn here over the top of the combat jacket, and this is a US-made 3/4 collar body armour, but in an Irish cover, which is made of the same heavyweight cotton sateen as the rest of the combat uniform, and it has button pockets, as you can see, with a zip and a buttoned flap over the top of the zip down the front. Inside this, you actually have the full set of US body armour, including the nylon cover, which itself has a zip and pockets and everything on it as well. But that's how this came to me. It had the entire set of US body armour inside it, so I've left it like that. It has been looked at in detail in a previous video, and these are quite distinctive, the covers anyway. So it is US body armour filler inside, and indeed the US cover as well. But the outer cover made in this cotton material is quite distinctive to Irish forces at this time. Body armour was extensively worn by troops serving on the border, and also in other internal security duties, operating in support of the Garda around courts and so forth, the movement of prisoners in politically sensitive cases, and that sort of thing. So this style of body armour, this type of body armour, was extensively used and had been introduced in the 1970s and was still being used at this time in the middle to late 1980s. We'll move on now to talk a little bit more about the combat uniform and in terms of the insignia worn on the sleeve of the combat uniform. In this case, there's no formation badge or anything, but we do have rank worn, and it was still common to see rank worn in full colour on the combat uniform at this time. The subdued rank hadn't been introduced by this point. So you have here the full colour rank for a 3-star private, and this is a private first class, effectively, if comparing it to the US rank system. 3-star private is private first class, basically. And you can see it here shown by 3 red stars on a triangle. 2-star private were shown by 2 stars side by side in a horizontal plane. So that's the sort of grading system for the private rank in the Irish Army at this time and still today. In terms of the web equipment carried, this is a stripped down set of 1958 pattern equipment with an interesting Irish addition. It is otherwise standard British components, so you have the ammunition pouches worn on the hips here. There's no yoke worn with this, it's slung low on the hips, just using the waist belt so that it doesn't interfere with the wearing of the body armour. You can see one of the ammunition pouches here. And then round on the left hip, you can see here that the water bottle pouch is carried. And in Irish service, the later pattern of water bottle pouch with the strap closure was never introduced. They stuck with the twist lock system that we have on this example, as you can see. The earlier design, basically, they never moved to the second issue version, second issue for British forces, that is. They stuck with this right the way through to the end of the use of 1958 pattern. And then round on the right hip, we have a pouch, which as far as I can make out is peculiar to Irish service. And this is a nylon duck pouch with a belt loop on the back that very simply attaches onto the belt. And this is used to carry the Irish issue gas mask, which is an Israeli design, and that is carried in here. It's certainly a very small pouch for what it's intended to carry, but that's what this is, the respirator or gas mask pouch carried around on the side of the belt. Again, my understanding is the mask had been introduced alongside the helmet or at a similar time as the helmet in the middle 1980s, and it's around that time that these pouches appear as well. The weapon carried is the FN FAL, of course, and we've literally just looked at this in the preceding video. And this is obviously an airsoft gun, but one that I've changed the components on and so forth to make it look like an Irish issue FAL. The various features are, you see the wooden buttstock there, the ribbed carrying handle. Obviously this has the Type-C muzzle device, which is obviously designed to allow for the firing of rifle grenades, a very distinctive feature of these FALs, and it has the grenade sight on the gas plug as well, as you can see. And it has a British webbing sling fitted, which had been provided to Ireland in large numbers for use with the rifle number 4 and carried on in service with the FAL after its introduction in the early 1960s. The FAL would soon be on its way out, at least for the regular forces, the regular defence forces. The Irish Defence Forces at this time were already investigating running trials of rifles in 5.56mm calibre, and in 1988 they would introduce the Éire AUG, and this would begin to replace the FAL amongst the regular forces starting in 1988, and then the FAL would be cascaded down to the FCA, the reserve forces, following on from the full introduction of the Éire AUG. Moving further down, we'll mention the trousers of the combat uniform here. As you can see, these are again a modified version of the British 1960 pattern, so made in green, but like the British 1968 pattern, they have a map pocket on each leg, and you can see that here. And they still have on the front of the right leg, basically the front of the right hip, there is a dressing pocket, and you can see the pleats for that there. On the front, you can just see the button poking out from underneath the combat jacket there. A very distinctive element of this design, and something that would carry on as part of the Irish combat uniform design going forward for quite some time. The final thing to look at here are the boots. These are the only thing I have something of a question mark over. These came from a seller in Ireland, and they match basically a pair of effectively unworn boots, which I was sent by someone who was issued them in the FCA in the 1980s. These are a little bit better quality than those other boots, which I know are definitely of Irish origin. They have a rivet strengthening the uppers, as you can probably see, and the pattern is otherwise the same. The actual pattern of the uppers, the tread pattern's a little bit different, but my understanding is these are Irish issue combat boots, and they are in my size, which is lucky. It's difficult to find references for Irish issue boots, but as far as I am aware from the details the seller had when I purchased these are Irish issue combat boots of the pattern worn during the 1980s and even back into the 1970s. Any correction on that, any further information would be much appreciated, and I will probably make a separate video looking at these in more detail going forward. We'll have a final look at the overview here. I think it's always good to return to the overview just to see how all these elements of uniform and kit fit together and give you the overall look of that period. As I say, this is built up to sort of represent an Irish soldier on border security duties in the middle to late 1980s in fairly typical kit. The number of pouches on the belt would vary depending on specific duties. This is probably the heaviest sort of load you'd see carried without the equipment supported with the yoke, with the 2 ammunition pouches, the water bottle and the respirator or gas mask. So That's just something to note here. You could see variations in this, but I've tried to come up with something which is fairly representative based on a large number of photographs I've looked through and footage on the RTE archives, which is a fantastic resource and well worth going and having a look at if you're interested in sort of Irish involvement in the Troubles, border security, arms searches, that sort of thing. There are a lot of snippets from news reports dealing with elements of Irish internal security operations at the time. So I hope you found it interesting looking at this. I do like to delve into the Irish kit from time to time. It's certainly a very strong secondary interest for me, particularly around the period of the Troubles, and I would say having the rifle sorted out and suitable for use as an Irish issue FAL has really made it possible to make more videos like this. So there'll probably be some further videos looking at Irish troops involved in internal security duties, weapon searches, that sort of thing. Going forward, possibly pushing the date back a little bit into the 1970s to look at how the kit differed at that time period. There'll probably be a video detailing that coming up in the next few months, and now I've got the rifle sorted out. So hopefully this has been of interest, and hopefully those future uploads will be of interest. If you have found it interesting and you'd like to see the future videos covering this sort of topic, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can. Both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. As I always say, a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel using those two methods. It really is greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much indeed. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below. If you'd like to get in touch with me but you don't really use social media, there is of course an email address in the description as well. That's everything for this video, so until next time, bye for now.